Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. I'm Ewan and this is EM177, and believe it or not, this is Scotland on the one sunny day of the year. But we're not going to be here very long, because on today's episode I'm going to take you all the way from here to here, the hustle, bustle, bright lights, loud music of downtown Osaka. But why am I here? What's the plan? What am I doing? Well, if you want to watch this video, I'll run through exactly how I got here, why I'm here, and hopefully give you some tips if you want to do exactly the same thing and end up in one of the amazing cities like this across Japan. But first, let's go back in time a few weeks and we'll show you how it started.
Well, it feels like forever, but today is the big day. It's an important one today on my little journey of getting to Japan. We're going to jump in the car and head probably an hour and a half drive down to Edinburgh, where I've got to take this scary folder of paperwork. Really scary because I've double and triple and quadruple checked it about 1,000 times now, to the embassy, submit that and try and get our student visa. So what we'll do is we'll jump in the car now and have a little bit of a chat about how we've got here, what I've been up to, and hopefully, fingers crossed, what the next few weeks will entail. Right, so we have a coffee, which is the most important priority, obviously. So I just thought on the drive we'd just spend a few minutes kind of filling in exactly where we are and how we got here. So probably coming up to about 2 years ago now, just during the first lockdown here in the UK, I decided that I should try and fulfill a lifelong ambition of moving to Japan. Now, it's been a quite intense couple of years because obviously that decision doesn't come lightly, and obviously you have to make a lot of quite large personal sacrifices for that. To do that in your early 30s like I am means sacrificing career, relationship, blah 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 blah, and obviously the natural stuff like the opportunity to see your friends on a regular basis. So I didn't take it lightly, but I always felt like it was something I just had to do at some point in my life. And what's been really interesting in the subsequent time since then is there's been so many other people who I've spoke to who are doing a very similar thing that felt exactly the same way. They just couldn't make a long-term plan with their lives until they've done this. Now, whether that's doing it because they just want to get out of their system and move on, or whether it's doing it because they think they might want to live in Japan for the rest of their life, that's a different thing. But I think for the majority of people, it's just getting out of their system, just having said they've done it. So I made that decision a couple of years ago. In all honesty, I made that decision thinking, COVID will go away in a couple of months, and then we'll be ready to go. And we are a couple of years later, and it's only just sort of petered off in the UK, and unfortunately still is quite a thing in Japan. So over the time that I've been deciding that I wanted to do this, the main timeline is quite a simple one. In reality, it's step one is choose you want to do it. Then step two is choose how you're going to do it. And that might be a little bit more difficult than you think, because unfortunately you can't just say, I want to live in Japan, book a plane ticket and go and live there. There's a lot more to it than that, obviously. Japan, especially after COVID, is one of the hardest countries to get into in the world right now, and it still isn't open up for tourism. So there aren't really that many different options. I had three different ways of getting a visa. Now, the first one was to have a working holiday visa. Now, the working holiday visa is a really, really good thing. It's something that's offered in a number of different countries. It's the one that the majority of people who go from the UK to places like Australia on a gap year, it's a visa that they use. It's primarily a holiday or a tourist visa, but it does allow you to do some part-time work to supplement your travels. It's a really, really good thing. It allows you to go generally for up to a year. However, there's two big caveats that meant I wasn't eligible. Number one is currently it's actually still not an option to go there to Japan with that visa after COVID. They haven't opened it up yet. And number two, you have to be under 30. And I am not that anymore, as I mentioned, and as you can tell by the concerningly growing numbers of grey hairs. So, working holiday visa, not an option. Visa number two is the general working visa. Now, this allows you to go to the country when you've got generally a full-time job and live and work there. This is also very difficult, especially in Japan, because of COVID, but also because of the language situation. Now, to get a working holiday visa in Japan, you have to generally have a company that have offered you a job that will also sponsor and help and pay and contribute towards you getting that visa. Now, getting that when you're the other side of the world and don't really speak Japanese and don't really have any experience in the culture is very, very difficult. The only people that I've spoke to that have managed to do it are people that are lucky enough to have either friends over there in similar industries that can help them get a job, or the most common one, which is people who work for European or American companies who have an office in Japan and can basically just do an internal transfer through their company. None of those were an option for me, unfortunately, so yeah, that wasn't possible either. So the third option, and the one that I've gone for, the one that what we're doing today, is the student visa, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's a visa that allows you to go to the country for a period of time to study, be that a university degree, be that a language school, whatever you prefer. Now, I'm going to go and do a international language school, with Japanese language. I chose to go to Osaka. So that's steps. Step 1, choose you want to do it. Step 2, choose your visa, student visa. Step 3, choose where you want to go, Osaka. So I've done the main 3. Next step, step 4, is to choose how you're going to do it. And by that I mean, how are you going to get yourself in a position to get this visa? Are you going to try and contact the school directly and inquire that way? Or are you going to use a third party? Now, I watched a Chris Broad Abroad in Japan video where he went to an international language school for the day, and that really put on the map, for me at least, a company called GoGoNihon. Now, I've used GoGoNihon for this whole process. They've been absolutely fantastic, and I can be completely honest and say I don't really think I would be here right now in this position without their help. What they do is they work as an intermediary between me, the person wanting to go to Japan, and the school that I want to get to. Now, because that line of communication would be very difficult without fluent Japanese, they work as a middle person for you to contact, and I contact, or you, the student, contact them with your requirements, and then they contact their pool of schools to try and find a match. Kind of like Tinder, but for schools, if you know what I mean. So that process becomes much easier. Now, when I say easier, I didn't say fast, because it has taken a while. Like I say, we're nearly 2 years into this process now, and we're probably a year, 18 months into the process of sorting out the school. Now, down that timeline, we're now at the point where I'm approved for the school. The school seem happy to want me there. The Japanese immigration have given me the forms to say that they seem happy for me to be there. So one of the last steps in the puzzle, like I say, it's only 2 weeks really before I'm due to be in Japan, is to take this bit of paperwork, which is my visa form, to the embassy, in my case in Edinburgh, and drop off, and hopefully try and get this student visa sorted in the next 2 weeks. I think it should be fairly straightforward. I've done all the paperwork in advance. I've double and triple and quadruple checked it, so hopefully it's all okay. As far as I'm aware, I drop it off today, and then they spend a bit of time just double checking it all again, and then they get back in touch and they give me a time and a date to come back and pick up my passport and all the paperwork, with hopefully my visa ready to go. It's a bit of a nervous day. We've got probably another 45 minutes before we arrive, but it's exciting, I suppose, he says tentatively. But I'm going to settle in now, enjoy a bit of the journey. I'll try and do a little bit of a time lapse for you, and we'll see you when we arrive in it. Well, as you can no doubt see, it's very wet in Edinburgh, but we've just left the embassy, which is over there. Get my finger pointing the right way. Everything's dropped off, and they've given me an appointment date for this time next week, which is Friday the 24th of June, which, bearing in mind we're flying on July the 3rd, means hopefully that's enough time and there's no issues with my application, and we'll be all set. I'm going to get some breakfast now, try not to get too wet, and yeah, now got to play the waiting game for another week. Well, thanks to the magic of the internet, we are now back in Edinburgh a week later, and it's visa collection day. My appointment's in about 15 minutes. I'm just going to nip along now. I was going to try and see if I can film the process inside, but I'm going to guess it's going to be a firm no, but we'll ask and see. Otherwise, just finishing off a coffee, enjoying the sunshine, and yeah, fingers crossed. Well, can't quite believe I'm saying this, but we have all the paperwork. So this is my visa, all ready to go, and all the other bits of information. There's a lot of COVID related stuff which we'll go into. I have a PCR test booked for Thursday next week, I believe, and my flight is due on Sunday, which is a bit crazy to think, but that's the main bulk of paperwork done. This is the paperwork I need to bring to the airport to get through border control and everything else. Morning, welcome to Tokyo Haneda Airport. As you can probably tell by the bags under my eyes, it's been pretty stressful 24 hours or so. So since I last did an update, got my PCR test done in Scotland, got my internal flight in the UK down from Aberdeen down to Gatwick. A friend of mine kindly got me from Gatwick to Heathrow via a nice hotel that I stayed at. I say nice, it was terrible, but whatever. And then left there what was yesterday morning, although it doesn't feel that long ago because I've had a big time difference jump. It was a 15 hour flight, of which I barely slept on at all. Tried the wine, tried everything, couldn't get to sleep. So very tired, but it's currently 8 AM here in the pouring rain. But as you can probably see by the thin veneer of sweat on my forehead, it's bloody hot, even though it's already 8 AM. So what have we done? Went through border control, went through immigration, got my visa all done, got my residence card done, all nice and easy. It took 20 minutes probably, majority of which was queuing. So yeah, really good service there. That's me got all the paperwork now. Next step is to go and do an internal flight from here in a few hours from Tokyo Haneda through to Kansai, Osaka, at which point we will officially be in Japan. I suppose I kind of am at the minute, but kind of looking out into a runway doesn't really feel like it. It's a bit of a shame the weather's going to be a bit crap, but it is what it is. So hopefully, fingers crossed, in 5 or 6 hours, should be in my accommodation, all set. And I haven't even mentioned yet tomorrow. Timing is tight. Today I'm arriving in Osaka, get into my accommodation tonight. At 10 a.m. tomorrow morning, I have to be at school for an entrance exam test thing, which is great. So looking forward to that, jet lagged and tired and everything else, but the plane taking off. That'll be me soon. So yeah, little update. A bit tired at the minute, but we'll touch base in a bit and give you more of an update on how we're getting on.
Well, as you probably saw from the statement in that last video, travelling didn't really go to plan, to be honest. My expectation was to do lots of filming, lots of nice shots, lots of updates as to what's going on. But I'll be honest, it broke me. I was knackered. Ended up being best part of 48 hours of travelling. Very little sleep, lots of stress, but we made it. So last update, we were in Haneda Airport going through all the passport control and immigration. I then flew to Osaka, which was nice and easy because by that point I'd already had all my paperwork done. So landed in Osaka on Monday, moved into my share house, which was nice and smooth. Didn't have to do very much of that, just a few bits of sort of housework and stuff to settle in, but that's been fine. I'll probably do a separate video on that just to show you what that's like and how much that costs and things. So if you want to hear about that, make sure you subscribe because that video will be coming pretty soon. So yeah, we then went to school on Tuesday. Went to school about 16 hours after I landed, so that was a bit crazy. Did an entrance exam, which went fine. And then that was yesterday, and I had today off just to relax. So it's been quite chilled. Things to note that you've got to do when you arrive in Japan, just about housekeeping. You have to take your residence card to the local town hall to get that registered so they know where you're living, and they put an address on the back of the card. That took a couple hours this morning, but again was nice and easy. Just a couple of forms to fill out. Likewise, some forms to fill out to get on the national health system, which I can do as a student. You can also do if you are employed and other things across that as well, so that's well worth looking into. But in reality, lots of paperwork, lots of stuff to do, but we're now on day, what are we? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, day 3 of being here, that's all. But we're here. Can't quite believe it. We're going to do the start of this video. I did those videos sort of a few weeks ago, going to the embassy, doing all that sort of stuff. This just all felt so far away. So to be here now is just all a little bit crazy. And I'm really looking forward just to getting settled in, relaxed, and enjoy it. But hopefully it's been a useful video for you. If this world of Japan is of any interest to you, and you want to see some more videos on student life, Japan life, and exactly how you can get here yourself, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the video, and if you have any questions in the comments about what I did to get here, please drop them in there and I'll try my best to answer them. Otherwise, hope you enjoyed it.